the biggest elephant right now in Hollywood, in my opinion, and that, of course, is the Harry Potter show. Now, we found out, it wasn't yesterday, actually. Turns out this particular story dropped like Friday, but it only really got talked about yesterday, which is kind of weird. So apparently, David Zaslav, right, the guy in charge of Warner Brothers Discovery, says that the Harry Potter television show will run for at least 10 years. And I'm like, well, that seems kind of weird because there's 7 books. So what are you going to do with that? What do you mean? And a lot of people are asking kind of the same thing. They're wondering how much of this is going to be filler, how much of this is going to be stuff that is not going to move the story along. Look, man, the first couple books are short. Okay, I think the first book, The Sorcerer's Stone, is like 274 pages, somewhere in that range, right? The Chamber of Secrets is like 330 pages. I don't even think the Prisoner of Azkaban is over 400 pages, right? You can tell these stories over the course of a season, and they're going to be maybe 8-9 episodes, right? I don't think they're going to give us a full 12 or full 13. They're going to definitely try to chop it down, but they should also maybe look at it like Andor does and treat because the show takes place over the course of a school year, right? So maybe 9 episodes, and each of those 3 episodes constitutes a season and also like a mini arc. And that then leads into the bigger arc because you've got storytelling elements that are like that. You could find a way to format it to where it could be pretty decent. But at the same time, why does a Harry Potter show need to be 10 seasons? Why? I mean, most TV shows peter out after 5, but this is an adaptation of 7 books. Now, the only thing I could think of would be Order of the Phoenix, the Half-Blood Prince, and the Deathly Hallows are just going to have to be expanded upon. At least the Half-Blood Prince and the Deathly Hallows. I know they did the 2 movies for Deathly Hallows, and that worked out real well. There's a lot more they could have said there. Half-Blood Prince, yeah, because they've got to also build up to the death of Snape, and then they've got to build up to the reveal that, it's not Snape, Dumbledore, and then build up to the reveal that, Snape was the Half-Blood Prince, because that was the mystery throughout the entire course of that book, which was very much kicked to the curb for the emotional crash out that was the death of Dumbledore in that book, right? Never mind the fact that the last 60 pages of the Half-Blood Prince, Hogwarts turns into an absolute fucking war zone, which is such a cool part of that book too. Like you've got Dumbledore. If you've never read the books, right? Right after Snape kills Dumbledore, page 606, by the way. And spoiler, it's only been like 20 years. Anyway, when Snape kills Dumbledore, you've got the Death Eaters storming into Hogwarts, and then you've got Dumbledore's army, which spent all of book 5 trying to prepare to fight the Death Eaters and to fight Voldemort. And those guys, they kick in their training, right? They're like Hogwarts special ops and shit. And they're kicking over tables and benches and chairs, and they're fucking firing off spells and shit. Dude, it's an awesome scene in the book. The movie just, Bellatrix Lestrange, is jumping around on a table in the Great Hall, I killed Sirius Black. I killed Sirius. You know what I mean? And then you get to the end, and then it's Snape's I'm the Half-Blood Prince. This is a big fucking reveal. It's a big fucking reveal of the book. God damn it. They dropped the ball. So if they're going to sit there and they're going to really build up the shows around the books, and they're going to kind of expand a couple of the shows, or a couple of the seasons are going to get extra. I think that could make a lot of sense. But at the same time, these kids are going to spend 10 years making this stuff, and they're shooting it right now, and it's coming out in 2027. And I don't know if they're shooting 1 and 2 back to back, or if they're just shooting the first season. There's a lot going on with that. But then you have the elephant in the room, which is going to be J.K. Rowling. And a lot of people are really mad at her for her political stance on the trans discussion, and how money she is earning is going to be going into backing advocacy groups that are trying to push back against trans women in sports and things like that. And that's going to be a big problem, because Zaslav has been yeah, no, we don't support what she says, but she's involved as a creative consultant and as a producer, and she's going to oversee a lot of it. J.K. Rowling is going to have to give the green light on a lot of this stuff, at least until the show gets its foothold, and then they can remove her from the show. Remember, but then again, if the show starts crapping out, right, if it starts tanking in ratings and everyone's really mad about her being involved, by the end of season 1, we'll find out that they parted ways with her or something, like we thank Joe for her, her support and for her guidance, but she's going to go do her own thing. And we've got everything locked down. We've got the showrunner. We've got the scripts written for the seasons. We know where we're going. We know what we're doing. Thank you, Joe. Now go, sort of thing. And they could do that because I think that's kind of what happened with Neil Druckmann on The Last of Us season 2. Really took a hit because of how the game was. And that was all Druckmann, and he left the show. Right. He was all right and high after season 1, season 2. Right. And then he kind of left the show. So, these are situations that happen in Hollywood. It's very weird. It's one of the reasons why I think I'm as big of a proponent as AI as I am, because I'm like, people can just start making their own stuff, man. And you don't have to be really in that category anymore. I think that it kind of moves away. It opens up democratization, I think. And I'm a big fan of that, by the way. Not everybody is, but I am.